What's going on, everybody? We getting started. About to have a good conversation about conversation. Share the video, like the video, comment, like, subscribe, all of the above. You know what to do. There you go. What it is, bro?
What's up? What's up? What's up? Back at it once again.
Yes, sir. Man, production lights on, man.
I just production lights, really.
You ready to get rocking?
Yeah. Why I say it say joining like you're not on there yet.
You see me, right?
Nah, I don't see you.
You don't see me?
Nah, man, I don't see you,
I see
bro.
you, bro. You got them old English or Japanese letters on. Your
Oh yeah,
glasses.
they that's it's uh it's a band tee, man. It's a Christian metal band, man. Yeah, it's a Christian metal band.
You see me now?
What's up?
Can you see me now?
Oh yeah, I can see you now.
Oh, okay. All right, then. What's going on,
Facts.
Sammy? Lotion. My hands ashy. I'm a man. Look here, man. Working out in the yard, playing with kids. It will take me
Playing with the
swimming.
jitterbug.
Yeah, man. All right, let's get rocking, man.
Welcome to Degreez of Separation, a podcast where we journey to learn how we are connected and who we are connected to.
It gives us at least a glimpse of how connected we all are.
From entrepreneurs and small business owners to difference makers and thought leaders throughout our communities. This is Degreez of Separation with Joshua Peacock and Daryl DJ Sales.
What it is, what it do, man. We back up in this thing one more time, man. It's your host, Elder Joshua Peacock.
And your boy Daryl DJ Sales.
Yes, sir, man. It's Degrees of Separation where we come to find out who we're connected to and how we're connected, and also have good conversations about the connections and things in our lives that connect us. But man, we got a real good one, man. But before we get started, man, shout out to Gospel Gains Clothing, GOSPELGAINS. If you want to represent your faith with your fashion, gospelgains.com. If you want to show your salvation on your sleeve, gospelgains.com. GOSPELGAINS. Type in the word Degreez, DEGREEZ at checkout. You will get 15% discount on the entire purchase. All right, man, DJ, what do we talk about on today, man? What's the topic, bro?
So with tonight's topic is going to be centered around conversation.
Right.
Conversation, the effectiveness of building, you know, just the just how to have effective how to have an effective conversation, a very fruitful conversation, and yeah, that's I think that's pretty much it.
Yes, sir. Also, man, let's start off with what conversation is. Now, in the Bible, the word conversation actually means our way of life, our conduct, our manner, how we carry ourselves. But in English,
Yeah.
it means a talk, especially an informal one between two or more people in which news and ideas are exchanged. Now, the very important part of that is how things are when things are exchanged. All right, so let's take a
Yes.
pen and in which news and ideas are exchanged. All right, so today, as I've noticed, as we are knee deep in actually, we're probably like neck deep into social media. Everything is
Facts.
informal.
Facts.
Everything is informal nowadays. You know what I mean? Um, it says informal one, but everything is uh, it's not a connection. You know what I mean? When it comes to
Yeah.
anything that we do, you know what I mean? It's informal meaning to be relaxed, to be laid back and stuff like that. In which we should have those conversations. Those are some of the best conversations ever. But I mean informal, I mean people are so out of touch with having a real
Yeah.
conversation. You know what I mean? I remember back in the day, I'm a little bit older than you, and you can remember this as well. This isn't foreign to you. When you wanted to talk to somebody, you had to be face to face with them, or you had to pick up a
Yeah.
phone and call them.
Yeah.
But it was more so, face to face. You know what I mean? There was some he say, she say stuff, but you always dealt with a person, the person of the person. You know what I mean? The spirit of the person, the actual
Yeah.
person, and not through some device. You know what I mean? So I remember them days. I think those days are
Bro.
long gone.
Bro. I remember. Bro. I remember. Like meeting a chick on a bus stop in Miami, and you had to like capitalize on that one moment, because if not, man, you know, ain't no way that you could reach her. That might be
Yeah,
it. But
yeah,
I'm just saying that I understand. I definitely get it. And I think that back in those days, conversation was more meaningful. It was more thoughtful. But nowadays, you feel me? Like we're the most connected. It's no, it's not ironic that we're the most connected that we've ever been, like right now. But yet and still, there's an increase in like depression, anxiety, and besides the these effects, I feel these are the effects of social media for sure. Like, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I don't think that we have meaningful conversation on a daily basis. Like
right.
it's so many people that like they 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 romanticize being an introvert, being socially awkward, and it's like, bruh, like those
Yeah,
aren't things that should be, like, I mean, people, it's a certain degree, to a certain degree, people could, they're extroverts. I mean, introverts, excuse me. But like, I think we romanticize it to the point where like people who aren't, they like desire to be, and it's like, bro, like that plays a huge part on those meaningful conversations that you try to have with people, you know, just overall how you interact with people.
right. Shout out to Earl, man. She got Earl in the building, man. Shout out to him.
Hey,
Um,
oh man, what's goody?
yeah, man. What's funny is how you said we're the most connected than we have ever been. I think the title of this episode is going to
Yeah.
be collectively disconnected. We're collectively
Collectively
disconnected,
did.
bro, because we are connected. We're connected to everybody's life. I just had a daughter um, Monday, right? And I refuse to put like sometimes me and my wife was like, sometimes we want to make a post about our children, put them on Facebook and social media and stuff like that. But I said, I sometimes I want to, but other times you got to have something. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it, girl. On the congratulations. But there's something that you got to keep for yourself. You know what I mean? Before, you had to go to the house and look in the photo album, and you had to know me and be able to be invited to my house. I had to pull out the photo album for you to get those images and that pictures. But nowadays, people, as soon as the baby is not even 5 minutes old, bam, social
Facts.
media. What do you
Facts.
keep to yourself nowadays? You know what I mean? But we're connected, but we're disconnected because true conversation has been thrown out the window, bro. You know, I can count on one hand how many people I actually have a continuous real conversation with, face to face, or even on the phone. You know what I mean? My wife, you, and a few other people. You know, anytime me and you get together, bro, we having a real dialogue. You know what I mean? It's not that we get on the phone or we talk to each other face to face. It's not that we're readily agreeing with every single thing that is being said.
Thanks.
You know what I mean? But we chop it up. We exchange ideas. We exchange news. You know what I mean? Um, I got one partner. You know, he my good friend. Uh, we just exchange memes and videos. You know what I'm saying? We don't have too many. He's a really good friend. You know what I'm saying? But we don't exchange
Yeah.
like deep or real conversation that often. You know, and I desire that, but
Yeah.
you know, our relationship has been dwindled down to sharing videos, and then when we call each other, we joke, we check on the family, and then we back to joking about the videos that we seen and laughing. We have a good time, and I enjoy that interaction. But conversation wise, it's not a fruitful conversation that is happening at all times with me and him. You know what I mean? And I think that it
Facts.
has to do with a lot of things. Both of us having families, but me and you have families. But anytime we talk, we're having real good conversation. But how many people
Yeah.
can you number that you're having real conversation with?
And I what I wanted to say is if we pay attention to like the evolution of it, so we went from letters, to like, because it's so much like that comes into writing a letter. Like obviously someone had to like really know you and really love you to write you a letter, like to sit down, take time out their day to get the paper, get the pen, collect their thoughts, seal it up, go to the post office or go to the little, mailbox on the side of the road, put it in there, you get it, and all of that love had to be, and that dedication, how we would look at it, it had to be reciprocated. And
Most definitely.
now you look at, when I saw Vines coming out, like I know you remember Vines, it was like, what was it, like
Yeah.
7 seconds?
6 seconds. 6 seconds.
Huh? When I saw
6 seconds.
Vines come out, I knew, bro, I was like, man, they're it's like the average attention span is short. And big tech companies, they're catering to that and they understand that. That's why, I got to the point where, and Peacock, I know you were already there, it was a couple of times where Peacock was like, look, man, it's so easy to engage somebody on Facebook, but it's so hard to build and have a meaningful, fruitful conversation because they can't understand the tone of the text, and you don't have enough characters to really put what you want to say, out there, and it's not edifying. And eventually I got to that point to where I'm like, man, it's just not going to edify anybody. Like I can't have a meaningful conversation over a couple of words, and the average attention span, you if I could talk to you and you could grasp 300 words easier than if I wrote 300 words down. You look at that paragraph and that thing be so daunting. You're like, man, I ain't finna read all this, man.
I do it all the time.
But see, if we talking, it's engaging, it's easier, it's a certain energy that's shared among us that captivates each other. And
Right.
I think that it's actually becoming a lost art, man. Even being able to read, man. People don't read, bro. People don't read, man.
You're
Like,
right.
bro, people do
You're
not
right.
read. Like, be just being real with you. Like, I've even thought about writing books, and I'm like, man, I can't sit up here and write no novel. Like, people, it. I just don't know, man. And I think that like I said, we're coming into a day and an age where, Elon Musk, he was talking about creating Neuralink, and if it was efficiently running for, 10 years, it would completely just like do away with language. And I honestly believe that we're coming to those days. Like, I do
Right.
believe that we're gonna our advancement, and I'm gonna land after this, Peacock. Our advancements, it's like they're causing us to be more individual and less connected. Though we are connected, it's causing us to be connected but individually. Everybody thinks that they're king. Everybody thinks that, well, and we're all unique. To us, we're the star of our own show. But everybody thinks that, just in this world, oh, well, I'm going to do something great. Let's be honest. Everybody can't be king. If
Right.
everybody was king, who would the king? The king would be nothing. Like, he
Right.
would just be everybody. So I believe that individualism, to a certain extent, is like it kind of played a role in us not even like having meaningful conversations anymore. People think that
Right.
their truth, or their life, their summation of life experiences trumps factual, objective reality, and it just doesn't.
Yes, sir. You Earl was like, he commented, said that he believed they already started human trials um, with Neuralink, and and
They they did they they did actually, about, like, I think it was, don't quote me, it may have been 3 months ago, if not a little longer, that they started human trials.
right,
And
and
it was a guy who left I think he left the project that Elon Musk had going on. I forgot his name, and he started his own, and they were in human trials already before Elon
wow,
Musk's and Neuralink. Yeah,
wow, yeah, we got to keep our eyes open on
yeah.
that. We
So
got to
we,
be vigilant there.
yeah,
But you know, when you mentioned the letters, man, I forgot all about the letters. In high school, that's how we could. That's how we, what I mean. That's how we communicated. You know what I'm saying? The
yeah.
letter. We had your boo thing. You know what I'm saying? She write you a 3, 4, 5 page letter. You write a few paragraphs. You know what I'm saying? Put some cologne on it. She put a little
Facts.
kiss on it. You know what I'm saying? That's how you.
It was a cologne on it. Nah.
That's how you
Hey,
engage,
Peacock,
man.
boy, you had all the little tips.
But that's how we engage with one another. It was more personal. You know what I mean? And like you were saying, bro, I ain't got the energy to argue with nobody. And I don't even want to argue with you. I just want to have a conversation. If I'm having a conversation with someone on Facebook or even in person, and um, you know, I see that it's starting to, you trying to prove your point, prove your, whatever you think is facts, and you're not trying to exchange information. I'm not trying to tell you to believe like it, but I'm trying to get you to consider what I have to say, and I'm going to consider what you have to say, even if I don't believe if it's true or whatever. I'm going to consider it, and I'm going to um, take in what your opinion is and try to um, dig deeper into what you have, because what you have might be some information and some knowledge that I don't have. You know what I mean? But as soon as I find out that it's no longer understanding that's trying to be had, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah. Um, and
Because
I don't know. I tend to
go ahead.
strive a lot more with people. I think I tend to strive a lot more with people you know, simply because like I don't know, I love knowledge. Like everybody who meets me and they know like I love knowledge, you know. Um I
Right.
definitely couple that with humility though, man. Like I'm not gonna, you know, call people out their name and like man, once I
Right.
immediately my that just turns me off. Like immediately when people are like, well, you know, they if the conversation devolves to, you know, snarkiness and things of that nature, I just
Right.
I back off, man. But
When you're no
whenever it's a
longer hearing
positive
me,
bill, you know, yeah,
yeah, when you're no longer hearing me and trying to understand my perspective, then I'm wasting my breath because you're not listening to hear me. You're listening to respond. You know what I mean? And once you're
yeah,
listening to respond, then you have missed my whole presentation. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I'll be like, okay, you got it. You win. You have a good day.
And when especially when it comes to administering the gospel, you know, we have to have a sort of a craftiness to us. You know, we have to be very in a sense very I don't want to use this word, but we have to be very persuasive, you know, and it's not, you know, like you were saying, Peacock, it's not always every conversation isn't always, well, I'm trying to get this person to over to Christ and, you know, I'm proselytizing it. No, it's not always that because every conversation, this could be a watering. That dude, you know, he started, nah, you know, it could actually be for your edification. I've had a I've had a lot of conversations with people who were who were what's the word, Gnostics, and it was very edifying. I'm like, man, it's crazy. Like I've never heard a Gnostic say things like this, you know. But it just prepares you for the next person, you know, that you run into. So long as
Right.
it's
Right.
meaningful.
You know, yeah, even you know, outside of biblical conversations, it's like we no longer talk to each other. We talk at each other. You know what I mean? And the political field and you know whatever argument, whatever stance you take in life, you're not really trying to hear the other side. You're trying to quiet the other side. You're trying to hit them with such a bomb, informational wise or fact wise, to make them to crumble their whole argument instead of meeting. What happened to meeting at the table and having a discussion and talking about the issue at hand instead of trying to demolish your opponent? You know,
Yeah, you're right.
the first problem is that you see them as your opponent and not another human being who has an opinion. You know what I mean? If your opinion does not fit mine, then you are my enemy. And you're my enemy not just in that arena or opinion, you're my enemy throughout the whole spectrum of humanity.
Facts. What I was gonna say was people need, and we in America or like it doesn't matter. I think it's consistent in every country. Like um uh, uh patriotism, it breeds a us versus them mentality into all things, you know, like that could bleed it can bleed into literally everything, like, oh, you know, football and sports, you know, that's kind of why, and I feel like that's kind of why we kind of exalt football so much because of the us versus them mentality that's just interwoven or kind of bred into our society, you know, and obviously that bleeds into even racial issues and ageism, and even to the point, man, we we asked the question.
I don't know what happened with him, but I'm going to send a request to you, Earl, man. See if you want to jump in. I don't know what happened to DJ, man, but we're getting back. But when it comes to, you know, conversation, it's something that's a lost art. It's just plain and simple. It's a lost art. It's a lost. Um, I'm trying to get you. If we wait, I don't know where DJ went, man. I'm gonna add you in here. See if you want to come in, man. Oh, there go DJ right there. Who was that? That Earl? Okay. Come on in here, bro, man. Let's see if you add something, man. Get a quick word in. There you go. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, man. I want to give you a quick word, man. DJ coming back in, but I see you on, man. You dropping some comments, man. Do you have what you got for us, man?
Nothing. I mean, me and DJ talk all the time, so kind of like one of those things to where you can have conversation. But me and him talk all the time too about how people just make assumptions. Like, and you see it all the time on his posts. So they're like, "Oh, y'all haven't done your research," and it's like, no, everything that you're probably about to bring up, especially when it comes against our belief as Christians, like we have researched it, and at the end of the day, well, like I was telling DJ today, you have to either put your belief or your faith in God or in man. Because when you come to certain things, even with history, that's a fact as far as the origin of something, you're basically saying that so far this is what mankind has found, and this is what I'm saying is a fact. But it's possible that mankind can find something that's possibly older than what you found. So even in our belief, our origin is just all of this started with God, not with what man has found. And so when you try to engage people in conversations, especially if they believe different, there's that automatic assumption that as Christians we don't have knowledge of what they know.
Right. And when that happens, man, that degrades the conversation. The conversation is no longer able to be had because you've made this assumption of me, and now you don't value what I have to say.
Yeah, and then at that point, like how DJ said, you get smart and be like, okay, or somebody like, oh, you have researched enough. For the most part, I'll just be like, I'll just check out the conversation too.
Right. Right.
And then too, another thing is especially when you start breaking down or talking about scriptures with people that don't necessarily carry the spirit of God, they'll want to try to argue semantics, and I don't. With me, that's like one of the most annoying things. Like, okay, we both know what this word means, but we're gonna try to argue about it not saying exactly what you wanted to say.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. We appreciate you for tapping in with us, man. We're gonna get DJ back here, man. Appreciate you for that conversation. We just had that brief conversation we just had. You know what I mean? But we're gonna have some more conversations. We're gonna have you on too, bro.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get off here.
All right, man.
All right.
All right. Brethren. Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yeah, man. He hit the nail on the head, man. You want to play. You have to value as I was saying before, you have to value me and what I have to bring to the table. I'm not entering into this conversation just to be here. I'm bringing something of value to the conversation, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and you have to value me and value what I have to be able
Yes.
to have that conversation with me. Even if you don't believe what I believe, I still value you as a person and your perspective. That's one thing
Yes.
that I hands down can give my wife credit for. She has brought perspective to my life. She helps me see things in a way that I've never looked at them before in my life. And I appreciate her wholeheartedly for that, because we have a we have a mindset. Every person has a mindset, and we look at things based on that mindset. We say things based on that mindset. We make actions based on that mindset. And it's not until someone else comes and gives you a different perspective to where you can look at something as you know, do different actions, look at things in different ways, talk in different ways. Now, every perspective, you know, that's where I have the spirit of God at. To when a perspective that is not of God comes in and tries to influence me, I can, you know, knock down every imagination that exalts itself above God. You know what I mean? But I listen to that perspective. You have to take in that person and what they have. They have something to offer.
Yeah.
Even if it's not good, you can get information that is not good and be prepared for that, to a rebuttal to that information. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But if you never get the false information that's out, you ever get the false doctrine that's out there, then how would you be able to rebut that and reassure someone of the right doctrine or right teachings if you've never
Yeah.
heard the wrong? You know what I mean? But people don't value the other person in their perspective.
And I think that perspective is to me perspective is it's more powerful than like it's the most powerful piece of knowledge that you could get, because how we gain knowledge is through proximity. It's through what we're close to, what we've been to. And this is the power in imagination, because imagination can take you somewhere where your physical body can't go. So now just imagine you if you gain the perspective of someone, who said, "Hey, look, um, all three of us saw God. What did you see?" And I say, "Well, I saw someone sitting on the throne." And you say, "Really?" And you say, "I just saw a bunch of glory. I just saw a bunch of light." And then another person says, "That's what y'all saw?" "Nah, I just saw a bunch of clouds open up." Like perspective, it's not necessarily incorrect, but it tells you a lot about not just that person, but about that lifestyle, that walk of life that person has had. And there's so many intricacies when it comes to different people and their walks of life, and how their walks of life could connect to other people, even you know and I just think that like that's very powerful. And that's part, I believe, me personally. Now, this is a DJ thing. This isn't a, oh, it's written in a word, But I believe that God is, he's in all. So he has the perspective of all. So he's able to um, bear our infirmities and connect with us on a personal level, because he's in all. God can connect with the tree because he's in that tree. But now I'm not moving into what is it, panentheism or pantheism. But I'm just saying, that's a
Right,
DJ thing. You feel me? That's
right.
why I believe, if he's in all, he's omniscient, or omniscient, and omnipresent. Like, there you go.
Yeah, everything shows his glory. You know what I mean? He put
Yes.
his penmanship on everything. Um, when you was
Yeah.
talking about the different perspectives, you ever see the movie Vantage Point?
You told me about it before, man. Nah, I
Man,
haven't seen it, but you definitely told me about it.
yeah, I love that movie, man, because it shows you that you don't have the whole picture. Somebody else is standing 20 yards to the right of you that saw something that you didn't see
Mm.
because of where you were standing. You wasn't able to see it. And once we realize um, that people have a different vantage point, like okay, let's take the hot topic of the day, um, transgenderism, right?
Oh Lord.
I don't understand it, but I understand that people have a different perspective that will make them feel this way or make them adopt this thing because of a different upbringing in their life, a different something that may have happened to them. You know what I mean? Something that has made them have this viewpoint. You know what I mean? It could just be the viewpoint of someone that they love, that they had the opportunity to
Yeah.
sit down and understand where they was coming from, and then they adopted their viewpoint of that. You know what I mean? They may
Yeah.
not be transgender. They may not be LGBTQI, elemental P, alphabet soup. You know what I mean? They just have someone in their life that is like that and has sat down and heard
Yeah.
them, and that person convinced them of their perspective. Now,
Yes.
I understand that, and I'm able to sit down with someone who has that viewpoint and have a genuine conversation and lay out my perspective and listen to their perspective, and you know, the way you persuade someone is not telling them that they're wrong. The way that you persuade someone is by giving them the information that you have and loving them with that information. That's how you persuade someone.
Mm-hmm.
Not, I told you not to do, and I gotta get better than that, better with that with my children because you know when they don't listen to you all the time, you know, we want to tell them, you know, do this, do that, whatever. But we
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
take the time out and see why someone is responding to you in this manner or why someone have a different opinion than you. You know, political arena. You know, as I said before, bro, you disagree with me on one thing, then it's, you know, we throwing everything else out, you know, with you. We can't vote for you because this one thing, you know, we got to get you out the way. You know what I'm saying? But the conversation, the art of
I
conversation is long.
I want to say that you don't want to have an echo chamber. Like, you do not want to have an echo chamber in any way, shape, or form. You even it's not, so it's not ironic, or it's not by coincidence that even in the I guess the religion, or you know, the denominate, even in the denomination, you're still gonna have people who don't all, you know, collectively agree on the exact same thing. Like, you know, it's certain thing, like for instance, Peacock, last I checked, you know, we had a discussion about predestination.
Right.
And I thought, you know, you were more on the side of it, you know, predestination. It's gonna go the way God wants it to go regardless.
Right.
And I was like, well, you know, I think they both exist, because I think that free will exists as under the construct of time.
Right.
But I'm just saying that to say that, you know, it's not an echo chamber of just yes, we all agree on the same thing. Nobody has, you know, differences in views. It's like that's no good for you. When you have a perspective or a philosophical worldview that you believe is right, and you surround yourself by people who simply agree with you, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're viewing life through one lens, and that's it.
Right.
So you don't you don't gain the perspective, you don't gain the knowledge of another person. You don't gain the applicable wisdom that could be utilized in your favor in the future, because the knowledge is only as good, the knowledge of your perspective is only as good as you can apply it. So once you've applied it, once you've done, you've done what you've done with it, that's it. Like if you continue with that same perspective, it's no good to you. And in all honesty, just to show you the power of perspective, the whole world was catapulted into sin because of one perspective.
And what is that perspective? How you doing, MG? Victor Gator? How you doing, Mama?
The perspective of the enemy.
Yes, sir.
He provided he provided Eve with a choice. That's what the fruit was. He provided Eve with a choice. He provided her with a I will, with her own will. Hey,
Right.
you don't have to do it this way.
See, and they had a conversation, but like I said earlier, you're going to be um, you're going to be offered things in conversations where you got to have the Spirit of God to,
Yes.
not take that information with you as your own. You can have the information and you have it with you to be able to use it to grow yourself, but not use it
Yes.
for yourself, as your perspective. And they had a conversation, but so in the midst of us having conversations with people, we have to grab the knowledge, but not always practice the knowledge. You know what I mean? But going back to what you were saying before about when we was talking about predestination, and in our conversation, we both had, you got a point there. You know what I mean? Even though
Yeah.
we come from
Yeah.
different views, we was listening to each other where we were like, you know what, that that has some sense to it. That makes some sense. And I've never looked at it like that.
Yeah.
And you would be like, you know what, yeah, Peacock, man, you got a good argument. I never looked at it like that. And we had a real
Yeah.
dialogue between one, and that's what it is, a dialogue, to where a dialogue is when two or more people are talking. It's not a monologue where one person is just talking. And and even in one thing I like about Bible study, one thing I like about how Apostle McCrae holds his Bible studies is it's not him doing all the talking. It's a conversation that is being had. It's questions that's being asked, and there's been many times where the question was asked, and it takes him to a whole nother level of study. It takes him to a whole nother level of revelation because he never looked at that thing like that. And then me or somebody else may ask a question, and it'll spark something. You know what I mean? I love now. Don't get me wrong. I love Sunday morning, preaching where I get the total control. I get to download it to people, straight download. But I love more of that conversation, because in the midst of a conversation, I'm growing and you're growing. We're both are being fed. You know what I mean? So I love that type of, even I love Bible studies more so than that Sunday morning straight download. I love that, me being fed and me also feeding. You know what I mean?
I think I definitely I like Bible study a lot more also. It's just so edifying, not saying that the preaching isn't, or the expository word of God isn't, but man, it's just something to hear somebody, when you hear someone, reading, they've read the word of God, but they've just, they ascertain something else. And it's like, man, I never thought about it that way. And when when we converse with each other, you know, and instead of it being, you know, inflammatory or all up in the air, you know, it's more so a certain level of understanding, you know, because I think that that's pretty like immature, you know. That's like me as a young saint, you know. I was like, man, look, I only know what my pastor saying, that's it, you know, or you know, I only it's only one way, you know, and that's it. You feel me? Like the way that I'm doing it, the apostolic Pentecostal, you know, I'm casting out devils, demon stomping, you know, that's all I know. And you know, as opposed to me now growing into the faith and saying, you know, well, I don't think that everybody from every other faction is just completely off. Like these people have, you know, I've approached them. I've had, you know, discussions. We've had meaningful conversations, you know, that were fruitful, and yeah, like we were able to actually build upon, you know, the foundation, and you know, yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, that's something that. But and again, you know, the Bible studies are not just echo chambers. You know what I mean? It's not in a hey, let me prove you wrong type thing. It's like, hey, I've come across this information. What do you think about this information that I've come across? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
What do you have to say concerning this? You know, it takes someone who has a wealth of knowledge and understanding and the Holy Ghost to be able to deal with those things. You know what I mean? Because I've seen some people bring some people information and they get carried away with the information themselves.
Yeah,
You know?
that definitely happens, man. Um, what I
Yeah.
want to say is, I think that one group that kind of like they're like they're pretty dismissive like that is like the Hebrew Israelites, bro. Like it's my way or the highway, you know, with some of those camps. With some of those camps, it's like, hold on, wait, do you disagree? You know, it's just a complete echo chamber. Like, and I mean, it's cult like, man. Like it really is. It's no other way around it. Like it's cult like, man. Oh my goodness, Peacock. I forgot to tell you about this dude that I ran into, man.
What's up?
Man, this thing gonna blow your mind. I ran into the second coming of Christ.
Yeah, we talked about him.
Oh, we did. Man,
Yeah,
it
remember
was it was this dude.
we was we was we was on the clubhouse together with him.
Oh, we was, yeah. Oh
And
yeah, I
I've
invited.
seen
Yeah, I
plenty of
forgot.
his yeah, I've seen plenty of his TikToks. I had to unfollow him or not unfollow him. I had to unlike his videos to where because I was seeing it too often. You know what I mean? I didn't want to see it no more
Yeah,
because that's not edifying to me. You know what I mean? I went and see what he was about, but you know, and I've talked to him. You know what I mean?
but
So
but he was so
there's
he
no
was so
continuation of
the dude
conversation.
was so humble. But the dude was so, bro, like that was part of it. That was kind of what made me like actually sit down and be like, let me listen to dude. And I had no clue what he was saying because he was it was like he was trying to be like Jesus, you know, like, well, who do you say I am? And man, look, you trying to make yourself out to be Christ. Oh, well, you said it. Like he was trying to be, you know, like enigmatic, you know what I'm saying? So so I'm like, look, bro, just say it plain, like literally about look, just say it plainly. Like if you
Yeah,
believe that you the Christ incarnated, just say that. And he was like, man, I'm the person that y'all waiting on. I was like, but
yeah,
his perspective, his life's journey, like caused him to believe that.
Right.
Knowing the scriptures where it said, hey, look, people are going to say Christ is in the desert. They're going to say, I am Christ, or there is Christ. Lo, there is Christ. And it's not going to be that way. Every eye will see. Every eye. So it's so many other scriptures, you know, they're gonna come many antichrists. Many are gonna come and say, I am Christ, you know, believe them not. And I'm like, bro, like but his 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 perspective is shaped by his worldview, what he's been exposed to, what he's experienced, how he's manipulated or utilized the scriptures to try and prognosticate his life, or you know, foretell, or try and get it to prophesy his life for him. It's like, man, you know, and it's all of that is cult like, man. Like I can't. One thing that I would never do, and I ask the Lord, you know, to always keep me honest on this word, is I don't ever want to sin and justify it. I don't
Right.
ever want to twist the word up and say what I'm doing is right. I just want, if I'm doing it, Lord, I'm doing it and it's wrong, but I don't want to twist it and try and get people to still follow me and support me in my my falls and my flaws and my faults. I'll admit it, I'll call it wrong, and you know, I'll move ahead.
Hey, you know what's more dangerous than that though? Is
So,
the person who is doing wrong and they believe they're doing right. They're not trying to
yeah,
twist up.
yeah,
They're wrong and they believe they are 100% right. That is a dangerous person, bro. Because there is no conscience there is no something, there's nothing tugging at them. There's no
no
spirit that's
conviction.
telling them that they're wrong. There's no conviction. There's no conviction there. And when you don't have no conviction and you're wrong, boy, you're dangerous. You're dangerous. But if you wrong and you got some conviction, you might, you know, hesitate here and there. You might not call other people to do wrong with you. But if you ain't got no conviction, you calling everybody and anybody to do wrong with you.
Yeah,
That's
you're right.
dangerous, man.
But see, majority of the people who are like that, they're narcissists, man. Because just imagine, Peacock, if you're in such a a a, a, a reprobate state to where you can't get the conviction, God is I'm sure that he's willing and able to get somebody else to come and say, nah, bro, this is dead wrong. But when you can't hear it from someone else, an agent of God, you know, because you may not be able, you know, like a lot of, come on, who wants to admit that they're wrong? Like themselves. Like no one, no
Right.
majority of the people, you know, who are in wrong, they don't believe they're in wrong. But sometimes it takes a
Right.
agent, a holy agent of God, an angel, if you want to say, if you want to call him, to say, hey, look, no, this is wrong, and I can give you scripture, I could give you testimony, you know, to where the Holy Spirit can utilize that person to prick their heart enough to
Right.
catalyze that change.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, but it takes them being able, going all the way back to the root of it. It goes back to them having a conversation, and that ain't even a conversation at that point. It's just that, you know, and it can develop into a conversation to where someone comes and tells
Yeah,
them that they're wrong, but they gotta value that person for them to find out how they're wrong. You know, even our conversation with God, there's a conversation there. You know, when we pray, that's us talking to God. But how does God talk to us? He talks to us through His Word. So there's a dialogue that's going on
mm-hmm.
there. A lot of people will pray the prayer of, Lord, forgive me for my sins, but they very rarely ask God to reveal their sins so that they can get it right, so they can confess for those things. They'll say, God, forgive me for my sins, all of my sins and everything I've done, and the ones I don't know of, forgive me for them too. Instead of saying, God, forgive me for my sins and the ones that I don't know of, could you reveal them to me so that I can be forgiven of those too? Now, there is this thing during the feast of, or the Day of Atonement. There's this big, long, tedious list of sins that the Jewish people would read off. And I mean, bro, it covers every aspect of your life. Every aspect. It takes a good amount of time to read all of those things. It says, forgive me for the sins of my fathers. Forgive me for the sins of this. Forgive me for the sins of that. Forgive me for the sins of, I mean, and you have to run. That thing is, MG say very long. She's done it. She's done it too. Man, that thing is tedious. Tedious.
What?
And if you really want to get better, Rabbi read them and also Apostle read them. She's asking the Rabbi read them. Yeah. So the leader would read them, and then the congregation will follow after and read it too. I mean, it's I think I got some copies around here sometimes, but you can get with Paul. You know, as we've just not entered into the feast year, the Day of Atonement. That's later on around October. So
Yeah.
Day of Atonement.
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah. It's like, isn't it? It's in like the middle. It's almost in like the middle of the Jewish year, right? It's like the 5th month,
No,
isn't it?
It's towards the end.
Or
it's towards the end.
Okay.
It's towards the end.
Okay.
It's the second.
I thought it was like the 7th
of the feast days. It's the 6th one, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
But bro, it's a conversation that is being had between you and God. It's just not. It's God is not a genie. We have to have conversation with Him so that we can be revealed unto us what we need to work on, what we need to do. We need to have a conversation with Him every day. God, what is your will for today? What would you have me to do today? I just lost DJ again. But we got to have a conversation in every aspect of our lives. I'm not sure, MG, if I think it's the 7th month. It's in the last. It's in the last month of the religious calendar. Get DJ back in here. But there's a conversation. There's a conversation that has to be had in every aspect of our lives with everyone who is in our life. A lot of people are dealing with trauma that if you would just have a conversation with them, you will understand why they act the way they act.
Yeah.
I talk to my wife all the time. I said, I got very little sympathy for a grown person or empathy for a grown person who's in a predicament based on their actions, right? But now if you come to me and you explain, okay, I act this way because of this, then I can have empathy on that. But if you grown and you are, you ain't got no money because of decisions you made, or you're in something, if you come and ask for forgiveness, or repent or whatever, okay, then yes. But if you just straight making decisions and you keep finding yourself in certain situations, bro, that's on you. You gotta deal with that. You know what I mean? If God forbid something happened with my finances, I'm not gonna be around here begging folk or doing whatever. God has, He has given opportunity for me to not have to go down that road. But if I go down that road, it's because of the decision that I've made. I just had my 5th child. All right, I got 5 children now, bro. I'm gonna be out of work for I'm gonna be out of work for 2 to 3 months, right? I'm able to do that because I've been a good steward over what God gave me.
Yeah.
Now, if I don't ask nobody to help me take care of my children. You know, if anybody want to give me gifts or whatever, it's greatly appreciated. But one thing you will not see me do is ask someone to help me raise the children that me and my wife made.
Yeah.
You know, financially or whatever. You know what I mean? Because that's a decision that I have to make. But now, someone who does need help, let's have a conversation to see why you're in this situation and to see what we can do to implement things so that we're not in this situation after the help is given.
Yeah.
You know, the government does not have conversations with people. They just give them, just give. No, come in. There should be programs to where people can talk about the things that cause them to get into this situation so that they can be counseled to not be in this situation any longer. You know what I mean? Conversation has to be had, I believe, in every aspect of our lives, and that is the starting point to a change for the better in our society, I believe.
And it's funny, man. They got these facilities called Planned Parenthood, and they ain't planning. You ain't got nobody like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where's the where's the plans that's being made on, and in all honesty, man, like, so children, they have a significant increase or significantly better chance in actually surviving and becoming model citizens if it's a two-parent household. And it's like all of these things should be planned, bro. That starts off with a conversation. Like it should be a conversation that you have with the person that you're dating or you courting. You feel me? And the only reason I say dating is because, like, I understand the world that we live in. No, I don't condone it, but people are gonna do what they're gonna do. So
Right.
um at least, have conversations, get to know that person, um get to know that person like for real. Um just question them about their business endeavors. If it's a man, why does he feel qualified to lead you? Why does he even feel qualified to like date you? You feel me? Because it has to be a purpose. It has to be planned out. God doesn't do nothing. It's just God isn't arbitrary. God doesn't do anything and it's like, yeah, I literally just made the spider with 8 eyes just to see where that was gonna go. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? With 10 eyes, however, I don't even know how many they got. But I think it's 10 eyes, 8 legs. But anywho, yeah, God isn't arbitrary. He is purpose, like, to everything. So
Right.
yeah,
Hey, man, I, you talking about relationships, man. Me and my wife just started watching this show. It's hilarious, not in the funny aspect. It's hilarious because people squirming and they're so uncomfortable. The uncomfortableness of the people on the show is so hilarious. It's called Ultimatum. It's where a bunch of
I
couples, like
just seen
six,
that
seven.
thing.
You just seen it, man. We
I
watched
know,
like
but I
4 episodes.
I saw it, but I didn't watch the episode. But I'm like, what is it about? Like, it was up there with, like, I don't know why Netflix is weird. It was like Ouija, um, choose between the two or some crazy movie. And then it had Ultimatum. I'm like, why is this thing with those two movies? Like,
Right, bro. That show. I'm talking about me and my wife are cracking up laughing. It's not a comedy. It's like as a bunch of couples giving the one person in the couple is giving the other person an ultimatum to marry them. And so they all come to this house and then they break up and they date each other couples, other people out of the couples, they date. They like speed date and then they have to go live with them for like 3 weeks as like a makeshift or made up marriage scenario. But bro, you have one person out of the couple is talking to somebody else, and they can see across the way their ex at the time laughing and having a good time with somebody else, and like the level of being uncomfortable in this show is like hilarious, bro. Because you can see people like twitching and like just having a bad time, bro. I'm talking about
Then you say
laughing
you can see
hard,
people
man.
manifesting.
Bro, this one dude was about to get his girl took, and he flipped the script like on the dude in the middle of him like choosing the other guy's girlfriend. Bro, dude, he stole the spot. I don't want to give it up just in case you watch it. But bro,
Not
dude,
Mr. Steal Girl. No.
Mr. Steve Girl was coming. Dude said, I cannot let this happen. He did something crazy, bro, to stop it. But it was hilarious. But again, that brought me back to that moment of, in a relationship, we don't ask the important questions. What do you believe in? Do you want children? How many you want? What's your financial goals? What's what I'm
Bad.
saying? We just talk, you look good. What's your favorite color? What you want to eat? That's it. Let's get married.
I know you ain't do that to Miss Peacock though.
Man, I told you I like you and I want you.
5 kids later.
5 kids later, 4 kids in 7 years, man. Yeah, man,
Yes,
5
sir.
kids
Yes,
later.
sir.
But yeah, man, it's conversation. We got to get back to having real dialogue in our society, so that our society isn't so toxic and everybody's against one another. You know what I mean? There's race wars that's on the bridge of happening. There's
Yeah.
gender wars that's being waged. There's political wars that's being waged. There's so many different wars that's being waged in our society, and they all can be solved by having real conversation with one another and seeing the perspective of the person across the aisle from you. And that's what I seek to do with everyone in my life that's willing to have a conversation with me. And we don't have to leave the conversation agreeing with one another, but let's leave the conversation with having an understanding of one another.
I think that and I think that that like our culture is becoming, or our nation is becoming, very shallow. Like we give shallow answers, like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. It's like, instead of just really being real, like, nah, I'm not feeling too hot today. And like I said, I don't I don't think it's the fact that our life is sped up, or productivity based, because that could also play a role in it, but I really believe like it's the individualism, like so many people I just want to worry about me, and there's so many scriptures, that kind of comes against that. It's scripture that says, let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus, who thought, what mind? He thought of others more than self. I think that's the scripture that precedes it. So it's like, or comes after it rather. But and I think that we when we think of ourselves, it's a saying that is fairly, it's I guess it might not be new, but we started utilizing it more and more now. Black people on a monolith, or trans people on a
Yeah.
monolith.
And DJ, we lost DJ one last time. We lost it. We're gonna bring him back, man, and have his closing remarks. Sound like I'm in church right now. Have his closing remarks. We're gonna drop the information. We're gonna get on up out of here, man. The night is far spent, man. I know everybody got chats in the morning, but man, we waiting for DJ to come back. But simply put, man, we gotta talk things out. If you're dealing with somebody, if you got somebody in your life, and parent, sibling, a loved one, friend, and you just can't seem to get along or understand one another, You know, take time, sit down, you know, and have a conversation. You know, a lot of people are pushing therapy, which, you know, if that works for you, that works for you. But guess what you're doing in that therapy session? You're talking to somebody. You're having a conversation with somebody. You know, I'm not a therapist, but if you come to talk to me about a problem that you're having with someone else, my question to you is going to be, have you talked to them about it yet? Now, I'm not telling you, I'm not listening to you. I'm not telling you that I can't hear you out, but I'm going to seriously suggest that you talk to that person. And so, you know, make sure you talk to the person that you're having a disagreement with or a misunderstanding with, and really sit down and have that conversation with me. I don't see DJ back yet. I'm gonna give him a few more minutes, a few more moments, see if he can get back, finish his thought, and then we're gonna close on that. See where he at. Come on back, DJ. He ain't back yet, so you can find him at Daryl Sales, Darylle, Sales at SALES, like salesman, Daryl Sales on Facebook, Daryl DJ Sales on Instagram. Hit him up, man. He got a lot of things going on, man. So Daryl Sales, Facebook, Daryl DJ Sales on Instagram. You can find us at Degreez of Separation on everything, DEGREEZ, degreezseparation.com, Degreez of Separation at gmail.com, Degreez of Separation on Facebook, Instagram, you know, on all of it, man, on all streaming platforms, man, YouTube, DEGREEZ of Separation, SEPARATION. We may be 1 or 2 degrees separated from each other, but when it comes to God, it should be 0 degrees